This is Fred Beck from Fred Does Fighting, proudly sponsored by Empire Fight Store. Today I'm very lucky to join by once again GMan Boxing. So how's the Christmas then, mate? It's been a while since we last spoke.
Yeah, man, it was a good Christmas, man. It was pretty. I didn't do much. I didn't do much recording, as you can tell by like the beard on me. Like I've just kind of been, like that's the result of 2 weeks of just doing absolutely zilch over the course of Christmas. It's not a busy time for boxing really. Like Christmas period, it kind of winded down just before Christmas, and it's probably going. We got a few shows in America, but other than that, it's pretty quiet time of boxing. So I've just been kind of just enjoying myself, just taking it easy and just making the most of the time off.
That's a good point about boxing being a bit quiet at the moment. How does it kind of affect your channel that the British Board of Boxing kind of stopped boxing in the UK for the month of January?
Oh man, I don't really see I don't see why they did that, to be honest with you. I don't really see any logical reason for it. But at the end of the day, like I know myself from being a fan of boxing for years, January is always a quiet month anyway for boxing. Like whether it's normal or not. Like I mean, even when I look back like 2019, there was no shows from Frank Warren, there was no shows from Eddie Hearn, there was no MTK shows until February, because I think with most people, like fighters and fans, fighters don't want to be weight cutting over Christmas. They want, especially if they've got families, they want to enjoy Christmas a bit. People spend that much money over Christmas that if you say to them, right now, here's like 100 quid plus expenses to go to a boxing show, they're probably going to be like, well, I can't afford it. I spent it all on Christmas. So that's really why it's always been a quiet month, January, and certainly in the UK anyway, for as long as I've been following boxing. I can't remember the last time there was a big card on in the month of January. I literally, I actually can't remember the last time there was a big one.
I think 2019 we had Pacquiao versus Broner. That was quite a big fight. That was over in the US, though, wasn't it? It wasn't in the UK.
Yeah, the US do tend to. Like, I mean, like they had that card on last night. I remember last year they had Garcia Campbell on about this time as well. So the US tend to just kind of keep it going. Same with Japan. They tend to just kind of keep it going all year round. I know a few promoters I spoke to, like just small hall shows promoters, like here in Ireland and in the UK, said the same, that like they don't like putting shows on. Even some of them said they don't even like putting them on early February because of like the issues with Christmas and stuff like that, with fighters not being away, fans making money. So I don't know, maybe it's in the UK and Ireland and kind of place in Europe, they just do things different.
Yeah, that's true. I remember one guy at my amateur gym, my old amateur club, it was called Kingsby Obi, and he was saying, because he's a pro, and he was saying that the promoters don't really like doing shows near Christmas or after Christmas, because obviously people are going to want to buy tickets, everyone's buying presents to their families. Then after Christmas, everyone's already spent the money, and I guess the boxers have put on weight. So if we just talk about your channel, I noticed you were live on YouTube the other day. Is it difficult talking for 5 hours straight or 3 hours straight? Because it seems that obviously you got the live chat coming through, but talking for that long must be more challenging than people think.
Well, like I've done live streams before, and I normally don't only do them for an hour. But when they go over, we'll say an hour and a half. Yeah, like I couldn't believe it. Like I remember doing it, and like bear in mind, we're only talking. We're not really like, it's not anything physical or anything like that. But by the time I done my first watch along, I think it was like 3 hours for Conor Ben and Algieri. Man, I felt like I'd done a day's work. I felt like I'd done a day's labor, and all I did was sit on this seat I'm talking to you here, sitting drinking Lucozade. And I was like, why do I feel so tired after that? It is tiring because especially with watch alongs, like the streams, just a normal like chatting stream, it's probably a bit easier because you're only really focusing on questions. You're trying to watch the boxing, you're trying to talk about what's going on, you're trying to look at what's being said. And I think with me, I was trying my best not to even look at the chat because my stream for the zone was slower than other people's. So people were telling me like, oh, there's a KO now. And I'm like, well, I haven't seen it, so please don't tell me it. And I was like, God damn it. So when Conor Ben knocked out Algeria, I was about 30 seconds behind, just because my zone screen was a bit choppy. And I was seeing everyone say KO, KO. And I was like, brilliant. Well, there's the KO coming. So try and be surprised for that.
You could have said, oh, I can tell Conor's going to KO him in a bit. Be like 10 seconds time. I bet you Conor's going to KO him. You could have gone along a bit, like predicting it.
I know. Now that was actually a fun little card. But no, the live watch alongs, I that was the first one I ever did. The second one I did was Joseph Parker versus Chisora. I think the first one's always the hardest. I think you don't expect to be on. Like I actually remember doing that because I've seen my friend Ade Oladipo's done them, and I remember thinking, don't do the whole like start to finish undercard because you will be there for like 5 hours. do kind of like 3 fights and not expecting 3 fights to go on as long as they did. And then before you know it, it's gone. But the second one was definitely easier. When I was doing the Park, which is order one, I felt kind of like, okay, I've done one, so now I can do this. And it's a hell of a lot easier, even though that one went on a bit longer, I think.
How many people do you have in your chat for average?
You see, it can kind of depend. Like, I think that live watch along, there was a couple of hundred, probably all from New Zealand. Probably all from New Zealand who thought I had the fight showing. You'd say they all thought I had footage, because I got a few people asking me, "Are you showing the fight?" I was like, "No, I'm not showing it. It says it in it that there's no footage, but you're still gonna ask me. Fair enough." But no, if it's an average live stream where if I just decided like just hop on and just take questions from people, I would say around about 70 to 100 people on average. It took a while to grow that, because like I started live streaming on my channel about 2 years ago. And like I used to be so excited if 20 people would be in it. I'd be like, oh, look, 20 people in my live chat. Whereas now, like obviously the channel growing, yeah, about on average about 70 to 100 per stream, which is good. I like that. It means that you get more questions, you have a chance to engage a little bit more, and gives your viewers a chance to kind of get to know you, because they only ever see me sit here, talk about boxing. It's pre-recorded. I can kind of just talk about that. If someone asks me a random question, I'm just going to be like, oh, I'll answer it anyway. So you get a bit to see someone's character. You get to see kind of what they're into outside of boxing.
Okay, that's a really good point about, people know kind of what you really like, what you already like, and outside of your channel, because when you're sitting there, it's like kind of easy. And I feel like when you're looking at streamers and how they when they're sitting down in the chair for 3 hours, you kind of get to know them more, because it's really hard to put on an act. But say a YouTuber is doing a 10-minute video, and they're like, oh, hey guys, blah, 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 blah. Oh, that wasn't very good. We'll do that again. So it's really easy for YouTubers to be a totally different person, but for a streamer to be a different person, unless they're a really, really good actor like Leonardo DiCaprio or something like that, then it'd be very difficult. 2021's just finished, and I got 2022 ahead of us. What's your kind of plan for your channel for this upcoming year?
Do you know what, right? It's weird, because my plan for my channel this year, originally planned to do it in 2020. Obviously, we know what happened. And then last year wasn't exactly straightforward either. So the plan really for this is kind of more of get more physical interviews. Like I've done interviews on my channel before, but they've been a bit like this, over Zoom, over StreamYard. Hopefully the plan is to get over to the UK and get to a couple of shows, kind of do a bit like what you do, just interview them then and there. And if I can get like some decent names or even some small names on my channel, get kind of more interview based and just focus on that. Obviously I want to keep the interviews with specifically the female fighters that I have on, because I'd enjoy them interviews. They're good fun, and I know with a lot of them, just giving them a little bit of exposure. And like when I see what some of them got on to do, I mean, I had Hannah Rankin on, world champion, had Raven Chapman on, she's now with Matchroom, I think, now at the minute. So I've had a lot of names on who, like literally, I don't even think Raven Chapman was pro when she went on my channel. She's now with Eddie Hearn. I don't think Hannah Rankin had a world title. She now has, so I could say now I've interviewed a world champion. So I enjoy doing them. So it'll be definitely more the same with them. And then it's just the case of, mate, just if it ain't broke, don't fix it almost. Like they're the kind of new things I want to do. But I'll always be someone who, if news comes, I'll literally be the first one. Like I'll literally, if I'm lying in bed and breaking news comes, I'm like, stand out, mic in, there you go, first video upload within 5 minutes. That's always going to be me, I think. Like even if I have 100,000 subs and I could afford to let that news settle and then do a video later, I still probably wouldn't do it. I'd still be like, it's breaking news, so why not? Just chuck the video out.
That's true. You got to go really fast. How long does it take you? Say news break, say Adrian Broner's fighting Conor Ben. How long will it take you from lying in your bed and then to uploading the video and then being uploaded on YouTube? How long will that take you? Say the video is 8 minutes or 10 minutes. Yeah,
well, like I've always been someone who, like, I never script anything. So like I never have to think of, oh, should I say this or how, like I just go and pop my phone on my stand, plug in a mic, get the lighting right, and then it's literally a case of just talk. And unless I start like absolutely fumbling my words, I could pretty much do all videos in one take. Unless I'm really just fumbling all over the place, which very seldom happens, I can do it in one take. Then it's literally a case of I have my intros already saved. So any video I start, I have them saved. Literally just pop the recording in, add a little few things like subscribe, notification, and then just start, cut, finish, cut. There you go, good to go. Can take me, I don't know how long, an 8-minute video could take me about 5-6 minutes to upload. Seriously, so you're talking about 8 minutes of recording, a couple of minutes to edit. So I can have that video up within 20 minutes of the news break. which is one of the reasons why my post fights are always out so quick.
What about your thumbnail though?
Yeah, thumbnails are, well, I don't actually make them. One of my friends makes them for me. So the breaking news, you'll often see on my channel sometimes, if news breaks instantly, I might have to text him and say, make this thumbnail ASAP. And I'm hoping he's home near his computer when he is, because he's in the UK. And then Dan is the guy's name. He's really good. He actually makes brilliant thumbnails, and he's been doing a lot of good work, for my channel for the last year now. So he's normally knows himself when news breaks. So he's like, right, I pretty much knew you'd be messaging me. There you go. Sends me it on. And if I have the video ready to go, I might just take an image off Google and just pop it up as a thumbnail. So like Dylan Whyte and Tyson Fury, I might just take an image of Dylan Whyte, pop it up. And then normally about 5 minutes after uploading, I'll get a message from Dan, there's your thumbnail, Grant, pop it on.
Okay, you're kind of relying on him as well to be fast. Yeah, because if he's out of the house shopping or going for a walk, then you'll really have to make a thumbnail quick, so don't wait for him. But what are some of your videos? I know Addy did a video like this, I think a few days ago, where he was saying, fights that he wants to see in 2022. And honestly, he did the typical Spencer Crawford and Tyson Fury, Andy Joshua. Everyone still wants to see that. Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte. But what are some of the fights you want to see, which no one's really talked about that much?
Going into this year, the fights I'd like to see are kind of the fights everyone else would probably be the likes of Dillian Whyte, Tyson Fury. I would love to see, obviously, undisputed at heavyweight, but kind of some of the other kind of lesser known fights I'd like to see. I'd love to see Parker in there against someone like Joseph Parker, against someone like Otto Verlaine or someone like that, because with him, I know some people might be saying that's not really a good fight, but just to see him progress, I think that's a great little fight for him. I wouldn't mind seeing that. If you look down the welterweight division, it's not going to happen, but I'd love to see Jaron Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz. That'd be like, if you could make any fight at welterweight apart from Crawford Spence, that'd be the fight I'd make, because I think those two guys, and I think because they're both so hungry, you'd actually see, because people would say like, you'd see it, they might be a bit worried, they might be a bit afraid. No, I think because they're both young, you'd see fireworks from the get-go. You'd probably see guys getting dropped as well, both guys getting dropped. So that's a fight I just love to see. I was a little bit annoyed that we didn't see Kazuto Ioka there the other day against Gerwin and Katas. So hopefully we can see that, because I love the lighter divisions as well. I'm a bit weird. I love heavyweight boxing, but I also love flyweight boxing as well. So I like the two lightest weights. I love seeing both of them. So they're fights I hope that we can see in 2022. I think this year is going to be a good year. There's a lot of talk. There's some fights being talked about in the wing. I've heard Josh Warren and Kiko Martinez being talked about, which it kind of makes sense from a business point of view, but I can kind of have a funny idea. I know how that fight's going to go, but there's a lot of good fights to be had. We're obviously hearing that Conlon versus Lee Woods is getting, that's going to be a cracker, man. I think that Mike Conlon can look a bit negative. Sometimes he can't be the most entertained, but I think Lee Woods' style is going to, that'll translate well into a good fight. I think we'll see a great fight there. So they're the kind of fights I'm looking forward to. I'd be pretty straight. I'd be pretty boring if I said, what fights would you like to see? Because I'd probably just say the ones everyone else wants to as well, like undisputed at heavyweight, Usyk Joshua, Usyk Fury, Fury Joshua, kind of fights like that. That'd be really kind of it. All the fights I'd like are kind of the fights everyone else would say.
Yeah, I think one of the fights everyone will say they want to watch is obviously Fury Usyk. Well, Fury was any of the top heavyweights he will want to see. Of course, Fury's always up for the challenge. But what are your kind of thoughts on what's going on right now with the kind of mandatory situation in the WBC, Tyson Fury and Dillian Whyte? What's going on there? I'm sending Xavier Miller a message today for an interview. I hope I'll be speaking to him next week. But what are your kind of thoughts? What's going on there? About what's going on there?
Oh, mate, it's crazy, isn't it? I reckon that a lot of this is down to the fact that Dillian Whyte hasn't been patient with the WBC and that he's tried to force it. And I get the impression the WBC are kind of like, if you just left us be, we'd get you this shot, you'd get your mandatory now that you haven't let us be. And especially because he done it during the summertime last year where everything was kind of stopped. So I was kind of, even me, I was like, why are you taking legal action when everything stopped? No one's getting a shot. It's not just you, it's no one. So I think that the WBC maybe are looking at Dillian Whyte and saying, we're not going to make this easy for you. And to be honest with you, I don't think that this is over with regards to Dillian Whyte and WBC Tyson Fury, as in They're saying next Tuesday is the day of the purse bid. I wouldn't be surprised if something else comes in between, like maybe Fury gets elevated to, you know, franchise champion or something. I can just see things like that. I don't think we're finished with this. I don't think it's going to be settled that 80-20 Dylan Whyte is going to be the end of it. We're going to get this fight made. I think there's more twists to come with this, but it's just crazy. I mean, like, it's just one thing after another with Dylan Whyte, WBC, Tyson Fury. It just seems to be never ending. And I know that's the route Dylan Whyte chose, and he chose that years ago, but you do wonder to yourself, if he'd have just gone through with that pool level eliminator, if he just had the AJ fight in 2019, where would he be? Because let's say he would have lost, he might have won, and it could be a different situation altogether. I just do wonder, is it worth going down this road as long as you have, when literally it seems like one hoop you jump through, there's another hoop, and this other hoop is smaller to try and get through that every single time.
Yeah, certainly. It's been a very long road for Dillian Whyte with a mandatory situation. I don't take too much of time. I've just got a couple more questions about you and your channel. When you make all these videos, because you release quite a lot of videos a week, do you ever watch them back?
Not really, no. I've never been one to do that. I don't really like, it's weird. Like, I think that's a bit, I don't know. I just think it's a bit vain watching videos of yourself back. So what I normally tend to do is I normally tend to kind of just, if I finish a video, because sometimes, because I use a phone, if I have one of my like iPad or something like that on and it's not on flight mode, sometimes you get interference, you know, like phone interference, and I worry about that. So I might forget to leave flight mode off, and I'll just maybe listen to it briefly and see is there any interference. If there's no interference, I won't listen to the rest of it. I'll just be like, right, it's perfect, there you go. But no, I never really do tend to listen to my videos back. I don't know. I make a load of videos. I do a video probably every other day, but I could probably count on one hand the amount of videos I've listened back to. I watched myself, seriously.
I guess you can watch it back to improve. Like, bosses watch themselves back when they're sparring. They watch their sparring back. You see what they're doing wrong and doing right. I guess you can kind of do it in that way. But yeah, I never watch my interviews back either. I'll watch it back on the edit, see when they cut anything out. Or if I want to make a clip or something, then I'll watch it back. Apart from that, I never really watch it back either. But you ever getting a background behind you there?
I have. I actually, because there's just a wall back there, and the room I do it in actually isn't that big. It's more high ceilings than it is anything else. What I did was at Christmas, I just got a lot of pictures. I just need to frame them, and they're gonna go back. Because people are always telling me, you know, like, the background's fine, but you need pictures. I don't know why. Like, people are so intrigued about pictures. Like, I know you have pictures in the background, and if they were gone, I wouldn't think anything of it. But so many people are like, no, we want pictures in the background. It's like, okay, oh, fair enough. You want pictures? All right, I'll get them. But I don't see how that's going to dramatically affect the video. But look, I just need to get frames for them, and then you'll have some nice pictures in the back. I don't know what they are. They're not necessarily a boxing, but you want a picture, so I got pictures.
I guess those little things that kind of add up to the final product there. Yeah, I got this one here. I think I got it for a while, and he's starting to get up. The Muhammad Ali thing.
Oh yeah.
The picture there. I need to get that in the background when I get around to it. But GMan, I'm sure we'll catch up soon in a few months' time. But I'll put a channel link in the description. But where can people find you? Instagram, Twitter, all that sort of thing?
Yeah. So my channel is nice and straightforward. It's just literally GMan Boxing. Main thing on my channel is just news, reviews, interviews, and that's mainly what I do. I just talk about all things boxing, preview fights, review fights, etc. Mainly interview female fighters. I know, Fred, you seem to interview like anyone in the boxing circle. It's just never ending with you, man. It's just like, you get names that I just think, how the hell did you do that? But no, I mainly would interview the female fighters to try and shed a bit of light on that kind of end of the sport. Obviously, I have done male fighters as well, but mainly prioritize the females. And my Twitter is boxing at boxing GMan. So I couldn't get GMan Boxing, but I could get boxing GMan. So there you go.
In your Instagram?
Don't actually use Instagram, mate. Literally the only platforms I use are YouTube and Twitter. And Twitter is for boxing news, and YouTube is obviously to watch the videos. Yeah,
that's true. Twitter is really good to kind of keep up with what's happening in boxing. So much stuff happens on Twitter. Fights getting announced. Fights kind of, when they're like, oh, Michael was just saying, oh, this fight could get announced, and then everyone makes videos on it, and then it doesn't get announced. So yeah, Twitter's a good place to be on if you're a boxing fan. But GMan, I'm sure we'll catch up soon. Thanks so much for your time again.
Anytime, mate. Anytime.